Hello there, guys. This is Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space. Today, I'm going to be talking about why I read the Bible every day. It's my favorite book. There's so many different genres in it. There's so much variety. It's just bursting with truths about human nature. It's comforting to me emotionally. It helps me with my anxiety. I have to soak it up every day. Why do I read the Bible? Let's start with it works. That's like probably the main one for me. It really works as a guide for life. There's so much wisdom in the traditions that are portrayed in the book. I'm not saying we should follow everything word for word in the Bible, because some of the things in the Old Testament are Old Covenant. You don't necessarily follow all of those anymore because Jesus changed things, and you read about Jesus in the New Testament. But the kind of people that the Bible produces, the kind of people who read the Bible like really regularly, are in the Word and studying it, they're really lovely people. They're down to earth and practical. They raise families who help keep society running. They give money to people who need it. They love each other people in the church. They're just really lovely human beings. There are a lot of worldly Christians, but people who are actually in the Word are really lovely people. But it also has changed lives. I understand there's other things out there that have changed lives, but it really can change your life. I mean, there's a reason why AA talks about needing a power beyond your own in order to change your life. And this is why lots of prisoners are also Christians, why they're very willing to listen when it comes to people who are coming and visiting them in prison. That's another thing. Christians visit people in prison. I know like all of the foster parents I know personally are Christians. They take care of orphans and widows. Those are the kinds of things that the Bible produces in people. It's really good fruit, as we say in the Christian community, which means the fruit of your life is like what you, like a farmer would till and water and then grow and then harvest. That's the fruit of your life. What do you work hardest on? I like the fruit that the Bible produces in a person's life. And people recognize that the principles in the Bible actually are the road to a healthy life. You're going to miss a lot of life's roadblocks if you follow the Bible and do what it says. That's probably number one for me, is just that it's like a very practical reason. It works. I also choose to believe the Bible because it's a collection of reliable eyewitness accounts written while other eyewitnesses were also living. And these eyewitnesses are reporting supernatural events. And it's, like I said, written while other eyewitnesses are also surviving. And they could easily just say, no, it's not true. But they don't. These phenomena take place as specific fulfillments in the Old Testament scripture. That's something I've been studying a lot lately and really enjoying. Good news, great joy. This is an Advent study that I'm still doing. Yes, in March, I'm still doing it. But it talks about a lot of the prophecies that Jesus fulfilled. And I'm sure there's like tons of literature on this. I've just never really read for a long time a book about all the things that Jesus fulfills. But the phenomena that Christians are recording in these eyewitness accounts are supernatural fulfillments of prophecies, and they're claiming they're from divine origin and not from human origin. So I choose to believe that. I think that there's a lot of textual evidence for that. Obviously there's argument, and I would say like I'm reading a book right now called The Question of Canon by Michael J. Kruger, and he admits there's a lot of scholars that don't believe that a lot of the eyewitness accounts were written very early by the people that claim to have written them. But I think there's good evidence to believe those things, and of course I'm still on a learning journey with all of this stuff, but it's enough for me, honestly. It's enough for me. And by the way, if you want a sermon that kind of covers some of the textual evidence and stuff like that, I will link that in the description down below. It's a great sermon called Why You Can Believe the Bible by Vadi Bacham by the Antioch Bible Church. Great message. He kind of lays some of the stuff out. He's clearly done his research. I see when I'm reading biblical stories, like in the Old Testament, the stories of human nature in the Bible, it's like riveting stuff, and it's like hardcore stuff. It's not always a calming book for sure, but it rings true. You know, there's a lot of history in here. Reading the time of King David is like, read 1st and 2nd Samuel. It's a wild ride. Read Genesis. Have you ever read the whole book of Genesis and not just like the first chapter? Crazy stuff. Also, I think that this is something people generally recognize. Mythology, there's always like a heart of truth in mythology. It's there for a reason. It's like truthful, even if all of the details are not like an eyewitness factual account. I think people recognize this about other mythology, that it can be true at the heart of it, even if you don't agree with everything that people have layered on top of it over the years. But I think that if you are one of those people who also believes that mythology, there's always a heart of truth that it's getting to, if you like reading mythology and you don't know the truth that's at the heart of the Bible, I would encourage you to learn about it, because there is truth here. You know, no matter what you've seen or heard about the Bible, the fact is Christianity is the largest world religion, and the vast majority of people on this earth are religious. And there's some truth at the heart of all the religious beliefs. And if you don't know the truth that's at the heart of the Bible, I encourage you to read it and learn what the truth is and encounter it for yourself. Reading the Gospels, that is an encounter that will change your life. Ooh, I'm dropping stuff. I'm losing it as we're talking. Like I said, it comforts me emotionally. It meets me where I am emotionally. This is my last reason. Reading the Psalms. I've been reading Dorothy Day's autobiography for a Lenten read-along, and she talks about how when she was hurting, she was at her most hurt, sitting in a jail with a bunch of protesters who had been picketing, and they got arrested, and they spent 30 days in jail doing a hunger strike. This is when she's young, and she has rejected the Christianity of her youth. But when she was most upset, she found herself praying, finding comfort in scripture, and finding comfort at the services at the chapel. She's like, at the time, I was child enough to not admit that I needed the comfort of scripture. And I don't think anybody would look at Dorothy Day and say there's a weak person who has to rely on a crutch like faith to get her through the day. Nobody's going to say that about her. She's an incredibly strong person, worker party member, advocate for the people. She worked as a nurse. She's so right that the scripture can bring you this comfort that's so deep beyond words that nothing else can bring you. I've definitely felt that. Those are some of my reasons for why I read the Bible every day. It's just beautiful. There's so much in it, and I can read it all the time and find something new every time I read it. So I hope that's helpful for you guys. Let me know down below if you have any thoughts or any resources that you think I should read to kind of add some nuance to my perspective about this. And take care until next time. Bye-bye.